Good afternoon, the world at noon. My name is Nathaniel Oyegoke. First, the headlines. In Nigeria, Senate to resolve oppositions as it resumes today. Togo declares state of emergency in the north. Toronto fan attacker sentenced to life in prison. Brazil police deny UK journalist bodies found. We have the news in detail. In Nigeria, the upper chamber of the National Assembly will resolve oppositions as it resumes for legislative business today. Specifically, there will be change of guard as some members of the Senate holding key positions will lose them. Also, debates in the Red Chamber will take different dimensions this time around, as issues will be influenced by activities in the past weeks where lawmakers failed to clinch return tickets, while others dumped their political parties. Reports from the senatorial primaries revealed that about 60 senators have lost out on return bids. This development will have effect in the upper chambers of the National Assembly. The senators holding principal offices that defected to another party will relinquish their positions. It will be recalled that the Senate Majority Leader Yahaya Abdullahi had defected from the ruling All Progressives Congress APC to the opposition's People's Democratic Party in Kebbi State. Still on events in Nigeria, the Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Uweye, has emphasized the need for security operatives to redouble their efforts so as to salvage the alarming rate of insecurities. Honorable Uweye stated this while decorating the newly elevated place attached to him, Mr. Fatai Tijani, who has been promoted to the Assistant Superintendent of Police ASP. The Speaker, while decorating the Assistant Superintendent of Police, recalled and condemned in strong terms the gruesome attacks of St. Francis Catholic Church or worshippers, a development which the Speaker said the killers of our worshippers would not be only arrested but incurred the full wrath of the law. The State House of Assembly Speaker, Honorable Timothy Uweye, therefore congratulated the newly elevated Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. Fatai Tijani, just as he charged him to do more than before. Responding, the decorated Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. Tijani, appreciated the authority of the State Parliament for the honor done him. He promised them to continue to discharge his duties in accordance with the standing rules and regulations of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Togolese government has declared a state of emergency. The Togolese government has declared a state of security emergency in its northern border region. Authorities declared that the measures would last for 3 months and could be extended by the National Assembly. The state of emergency declared in the north, according to reports, will allow security forces there to have more flexibility to deal with threats of jihadist attacks. The move allows last month's attack in the northern town near the border with Burkina Faso, in which 8 Togolese were killed and others wounded. Togolese troops are deployed in the north to try to contain a jihadist threat pushing south from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, where militants linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group operate. A United Nations tribunal has ruled that a man, Felicien Kabuga, alleged to be one of the main financiers of the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, is fit to stand trial in The Hague, where he is currently detained. Mr. Kabuga is accused of funding and harming the Hutu militias who slaughtered about 800,000 ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus in the genocide. His lawyers had previously sought to halt proceedings against him on health grounds. The 87-year-old Mr. Kabuga had been on the run for 26 years until his arrest in 2020 in Paris, where he had been living under a false identity. He denies all the charges against him. It will record that in 1997 he was indicted by the International Criminal Court for Rwanda on 7 counts, including genocide and crimes against humanity. This is the World at Noon, coming to you from Ocean State Broadcasting Corporation, Eliawiye, Okebale, Oshogbo. Now amid news message. A simple act of kindness can create an endless ripples. Show a little bit of kindness. The France General Staff of Defense has announced that it has started withdrawing its troops from Mali with the handover of the Menaka base to the Malian forces. Information has it that the transfer was conducted in an orderly, safe and transparent manner. The General Staff said on Twitter that the transfer is part of the framework set by President Emmanuel Macron in February in order to rearticulate the Barkhane force outside Mali. A statement from the Defense Ministry said France had deployed an estimated 4,600 soldiers under Operation, which was launched in 2014 to fight terrorism in the G5 countries of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, and Mauritania. The French army said it has invested several million euros in development projects for vital infrastructure, education, youth, and health of the local population, which supported the Barkhane force to undertake the operations. The man responsible for a deadly fan attack in Toronto 4 years ago has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The 29-year-old killer was found guilty last year of murdering 10 people and attempting to murder 16. Justice Annie Malloy delivered a sentence in a crowded Toronto court filled with victims' loved ones. Reporters say that 8 women and 2 men died after the killer plunged a fan down a busy pavement. Throughout the ruling last year, Justice Malloy refused to name the attacker, referring to him instead as John Doe, and said she would not give him the notoriety he sought from the start. It will be recalled that the attacker rented the fan some 3 weeks before he used it as a weapon on a major Toronto street. He told investigators he had set out to kill as many people as possible and that he drew inspiration from the misogynistic incel movement of mostly online groups of young men who are angry at their lack of sexual activity. The remains of UK journalist Mr. Don Phillips and indigenous expert Mr. Bruno Pereira have been found in the Amazon jungle. According to a report, Brazil's federal police has denied a report that British journalist Don Phillips and indigenous expert Bruno Pereira had been found and identified. Sir Phillips, who has worked for news outlets including DW and The Guardian, and his colleague have been missing for more than a week in the Fel do Javari indigenous land in the Brazilian state of Amazon. The federal police have said that only biological material and belongings of the missing men have been discovered so far. While the indigenous association named Unifaja also told newsmen that search teams had not found any bodies. The 2 men had been seen for the last time on June 5th when they arrived at the community of Saurava, where they departed for Atalaya do Norte, a trip that takes approximately 2 hours but did not reach their destination. Clothing belonging to the 2 men had been found on Sunday, along with a health identification card in his name. And here again are the highlights of the World at Noon. In Nigeria, the upper chamber of the National Assembly will resolve oppositions as it resumes for legislative business today. The Togolese government has declared a state of security emergency in its northern border region. The man responsible for a deadly fan attack in Toronto 4 years ago has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The remains of UK journalist Mr. Don Phillips and indigenous expert Mr. Bruno Pereira have been found in the Amazon jungle. And that was the word that's known. Harisa Alushola Egbodofo. In today's news talk, Adeyemi Adeleke of our editorial desk writes, on the